Do you ever feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells around a parent? That exhausting pull to keep them happy, to monitor their moods, and feeling like it's your job to fix it when they're upset. Even if you logically know it's not your fault, that feeling of responsibility just won't quit. That sense of duty, even when it's completely undeserved, is exactly how family roles can shape your entire emotional world. Hi, I'm Katie Morton, a licensed therapist. And today we're going to explore what these roles are, why they form, and most importantly, how you can step out of them without guilt or anxiety. In many families, these roles are set early on. They're unspoken, invisible rules. No one ever sits you down and says, okay, you're the peacemaker, or you're going to be the family clown. You just become that person. Over time, it can feel like a natural part of your personality, when really, it's a survival strategy you developed as a kid. Let's look at some common family roles. See if any of these sound familiar. There's the hero, often the oldest, always responsible, a high achiever desperate to please. Then there's the caretaker, or the martyr, constantly meeting everyone else's needs while completely neglecting their own. We have the lost child, sometimes called the glass child, quiet, invisible, and often overlooked. The scapegoat, or black sheep, the one who gets blamed whenever things go wrong. Then there's the mascot, or clown, who uses humor to lighten the tension and distract from the real issues. The golden child, seen as perfect, but carrying an intense, unspoken pressure to perform flawlessly. The mediator, or peacekeeper, their whole job is to maintain harmony in the family, no matter the cost. And finally, the provider, the one who ensures financial or practical stability for the household, often at great personal expense. Take a moment to reflect. Which of these roles feels familiar to you? Maybe you see yourself, your siblings, or even your parents in these descriptions. Often, these roles become so automatic they just feel like who we are. But they are not permanent, and they are not your true identity. If you grew up in a home where moods shifted suddenly and without warning, learning to read emotions wasn't just a neat skill, it was essential for survival. Noticing a subtle shift in tone, predicting a negative reaction, anticipating tension before it exploded, these skills kept you safe. But what starts as helpful awareness can slowly morph into unhealthy mind reading. You end up spending all your energy guessing what someone else feels, why they feel it, and what you need to do to fix it, all without having a single real conversation. It might feel like you're being caring or empathetic, but in reality, it's a full-time exhausting job managing someone else's emotional state. Here's a hard truth. You can't make someone else happy, no matter how much you try. And that constant effort to keep the peace often disguises control as care. Let me say that again because it's so important. That's not connection, it's control disguised as care. Their emotions belong to them. Yours belong to you. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for them is to step back and let them own their own feelings. Now, stopping this cycle can feel incredibly uncomfortable because it's so familiar. It's like a dance you've been performing your entire life. When you suddenly stop, one of two things usually happens. Either someone else in the family steps in to fill the role you were playing, or the family system adjusts. And that person, yes, even your parent, learns to handle their emotions themselves. Either way, it is no longer your burden to carry. This is a subtle but powerful difference. Knowing it's not your fault versus feeling responsible. Fault is about blame, I caused this. Responsibility is about burden. I have to fix it. Most of us quietly picked up these burdens as children, not because we wanted to, but because it felt safer than the alternative. Many of us don't even realize we're playing a role. We just think, oh, I'm the peacemaker, I'm the helper, or I'm just the one who always gets blamed. These patterns start so young that they feel like our natural behavior, like we were handed a script before we ever learned to write our own lines. If your parents' emotions were unpredictable, learning to read their moods was a brilliant adaptive strategy. It helped you get attention when you needed it, or avoid conflict when you sensed it coming. That's not weird, that's survival. The trap comes when we continue using that same strategy as adults, automatically assuming we're responsible for the feelings of everyone around us. So, what's the first step out? It isn't trying to change your family, you can't. It's to recognize the role you've been playing and realize, this isn't who I am. It's who I had to be to get by. That awareness is the real start of healing. A common question I get from clients goes something like this. Katie, I know I'm not responsible for my dad's emotions, but I still feel so anxious when he's upset. I can just sense when something's wrong, even if he doesn't say anything. I don't know how to stop letting his feelings affect mine so much. This is so relatable. Once you see the role you've been playing, you can finally start shifting back into your authentic self. Here are 4 steps you can take. First, just pay attention. Notice when you feel that knee-jerk urge to fix, soothe, or make yourself smaller to accommodate someone else. Observe your family like you're an anthropologist studying an emotional ecosystem. Who gets quiet? Who explodes? Who just disappears? Awareness is more than half the battle. Second, set clear, kind boundaries. You can start small. For example, you might say, "Dad, if something's bothering you, I'd really appreciate it if you told me directly. Otherwise, I'm going to assume everything's okay." This simple boundary shifts the emotional responsibility back to where it belongs. Third, reframe your thoughts. When you feel that old pull of responsibility for someone else's mood, pause and tell yourself, their feelings are theirs. I can care about them without carrying their feelings for them. This cognitive reframing interrupts those anxious thought loops and helps your nervous system calm down. And fourth, expect discomfort. Stepping out of a long-held family role can feel strange. You might feel sad, guilty, or even a little lost. That's normal. In a way, you're grieving the version of yourself that had to carry that role for so long. Be gentle and patient with yourself through this process. Over time, I promise, the pressure eases, the anxiety softens, and your authentic self will finally have room to breathe. You are allowed to step out of old patterns, even if they feel familiar and safe. You are allowed to recognize that what once felt like love might have actually been a form of self-abandonment. And you are allowed to choose differently for yourself now. If you've been the fixer, the helper, or the peacekeeper, I'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments what role you played growing up and how you reworking to step out of it today. You are definitely not alone in this, and doing this work is so worth it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content that can help you heal and grow. See you next time.